Good morning. We're going to start a short video this morning. We're going to try make an attempt to cut the pallet nibs for the regulator clock project. So they're very teeny tiny. We're going to use a piece of 01 tool steel. Let's see if I can put this in front of the camera. So that's what we're going to use. Piece of 01 oil hardened precision ground flat stock. We're going to use a piece that's about 3 inches long. I just cut a random length just to make sure it's long enough. We're going to try to get 2 sets of pallet nibs out of this. So the piece of this is precision ground material. It's 1/8 of an inch thick. So I've set up the pallet to accept 1/8 of an inch, and the little nibs are going to only be about 1/16 of an inch wide, if you remember from the pallet when we cut out the pallet. So with that, we're going to get started here. You can't see the computer from here, but I've loaded a CAN-BAM G-code file, and basically, if you see the shaded areas, we're going to cut out those 4 nibs. And there's some really complicated ways to do this on the lathe, and using a lathe and a mill, but you can of course do it by hand. But these have to be very precision made. The points, the length, the curves, everything on this has to be exactly right. So we're hoping that we can cut these using the CNC on the little TEG mill. So we're going to give it a try. Here's another shot at that. That's my CAD drawing. So the pallet arms hold these 2 little nibs, and they control the escape wheel, okay? And they're set up to engage 8.5 teeth of the escape wheel. So this is pretty critical. These have to be the faces of these have to be highly polished, and so I'm not sure what we're going to do. We may just use the tool steel as is. We may harden it. In this case, it doesn't matter. They're just running against a brass escape wheel, so that sort of gives you an idea what they are. And so with that little short overview, I'm going to get the compressor running here so we can get some air going on this. Go. So we got the compressor running. I've got it set up. We're going to use 1/8 of an inch end mill to cut these, and we're using our typical method of holding this work down using the painter's tape and the super glue. So I don't feel that's good enough, because once these little elements are released from the base material, I don't believe that the tape is going to hold them. They're only 1/16 of an inch wide. So we've incorporated some tabs into the cut. So we're going to try to put 2 tabs on each side, very little teeny tiny tabs that we can get rid of with the Dremel tool after we get all finished. So that's my plan. Don't know if that's going to work. I don't have a lot of experience using tabs, but we're going to give it a whirl and see if we can make that work. So with that said, let's see if we can zoom in on the work a little bit and get the camera set up a little closer to what we need. closer. I see there's some light on there. Maybe I can move the light away so that doesn't reflect on the work. Get some air going on this. Remote in my hand. Hopefully everything will go along. This is going to be kind of a long video, so I'm going to talk a little bit here at the beginning, and then we'll let it run. Maybe I'll fast forward through part of it, and then we'll come in again at the end. We're making this is going to be a very slow cut. So I'm not sure how things are going to react, so let's see how it goes. Let's see, let's regenerate the toolpath here and get our little thing back in Mock's window here so we can see it. Okay, there we go. Turn on the mill. We're gonna run the mill at 2,500 RPM. That's maxed out. Put a little oil on this, but I don't want to use too much oil. I want to be able to. Hopefully, the air will keep it cleaned off. Not sure if it will, but we'll see. I'm gonna have to put the light on this so I can see. That's not showing up very well in the camera. Tool steel's a little bit hard, not real soft material. Not like cutting 1018 or something, some kind of mild steel. So that's why we're going at it a little bit slow here. And probably I'm going to need to get a chip brush out because I see that I'm going to, maybe I'll try to cut this without putting any lubricant on it because I don't like to do that, but it looks like the chips are going to stick to the work. Okay, for some reason we had a little mishap. Mock just stopped. And so actually what I did is I went back to my starting point and I started it again. Thank God we weren't very far into this. So anyway, we'll see what happens. It may bail out again. I don't know what went wrong, but this is going to be a long run. So It's going to take about 45 minutes to do this. So I'm going to shut the camera off probably here pretty soon. And then when I edit, I'll decide how much of this I'll fast forward through. Okay, going along okay. We're into this about 7 minutes at this point. I'm looking at mock screen here. It says 7.5 minutes. We're down about 40 thousandths on these two. It's going to mill out. It's going to go ahead and mill out the two on the right, and then it'll go over and mill out the two on the left. So this process for the ones on the right will probably take us at least 20 minutes. So going along okay. I got a little different view with the camera, but when I get this close and looking down on it, the spindle gets in the way. So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't, I guess. And I'm going to have to, I'm cutting this dry, and right now we're using a carbide end mill, and I'm going to have to, even at that, I'm going to have to blow it off probably. I doubt the air is going to keep it clean. You can do this on a lathe by mounting the workpiece to a back plate, mounting it to your face plate, and then cutting out the circle. And if you do it that way, you can get probably 4 sets of these out of the circle. I like this method better. It's less trouble if it works. We may get into trouble at the end trying to use the tabs, because I know those little teeny nibs are not going to hold with that painter's tape. There's no way. So seems to make a groaning sound every time it goes through the center there. I'm going to blow some chips off this and probably zoom in some more. I think eventually we're going to run out of zoom here. Yeah, it won't focus there. I think we're just about where we need to be right there. That's about it. Okay, I'm going to turn off the camera. And okay, I just started the camera again. We're into this side 22, almost 23 minutes. So the total run's going to be over 45 minutes. That's my estimate was 45. The reason I bring the camera back on again is that we're trying to cut the tabs right now, and if anything's left at the bottom, I mic'd this material, and it was about a 1/2 thousandth thicker. So I tried to make the cut 1/2 thousandth more, but we're talking about hairs here, so I'm not sure we're going to get all the way through. Also, so we'll just see what happens. We're probably not far from being all the way through. It's probably just paper thin down there. So that's it. We're done. We can shut the air off. Shut the motor off. And get the Z-axis out of the way. And I need to move the camera to a different location. So I'm going to shut it off now and move it. I have to move it to another location because it's in my way to try to get that. I'm going to try to get that piece of material off of the sacrificial piece. The way I did it in the past was I have a heavy blade on an X-Acto knife, and I just try to slide it underneath there and try to get it to separate where the tape is. It's pretty well attached. It doesn't separate too easy. So I'm going to shut the camera off and move the camera back out of the. Well, there we go. Let me get something and see if we can get that off there. I've done that off camera in the past, so, and occasionally it's been pretty difficult to get it off of there. It's not actually easy. Once you get it moving, gotta kind of get in between. There it comes. Well, it looks like we got quite a bit of material left in a couple places. So that wasn't 100% successful on this side. So somehow in this setup the glue is causing a problem. It did leave the you can't see it in the camera, but let's see here. So I can hold it up there. You can't see, but it did leave the tabs just beautifully, actually just like it was supposed to do. It was supposed to leave 2 tabs on each side, and that's what it did. But two of these nibs I'm not going to be able to get out because the material's too thick. So evidently what it is the glue takes up quite a bit of space. So on one side the material's pretty thin on the bottom, on the other side it left way too much. I don't know if you can see that or not. On one side, so it would be on my left, the material's thin over there, but on the right it's quite thick. So at least hopefully the 2 on the left I'll be able to get out of there okay with a Dremel. You can see at no place did it come through on the bottom. It looks like there's one place here that it looks like it might have been trying to come through, but so if I do that again, I need to overcut into the tape and depend on the tabs to hold it. So maybe this was a lost cause, but at least I learned something. So we'll call off now, and we'll post this, and hopefully somebody will get something out of this. There's something to be learned from all my mistakes. So anyway, I'll call off now. Thanks for watching.